Okay, the next thing I wanted to speak to you about was the square roots of complex numbers. This is something that is not covered in the textbook. Could it be assessed? It's the kind of thing that I think could be in there, especially if they wanted to do a little twist on a question. So I always like to prepare my students for every eventuality. A kind of cool thing here. I've said you might be thinking, if finding the square root of a negative created a whole new type of number, will we need another type of number for the square root of a complex number? Now, you might know the answer to this because right at the beginning of this chapter, I showed you this and I said this covers all of the types of numbers. So actually, no, we do not need a new type of number. Even when we take the square root of a complex number, we do not need another type of number. We don't need a new kind of imaginary. And I will explain a little bit more. Now, you can actually do some of these things on the calculator. If you go to your calculator and you literally just do z equals the square root of I, then you can solve this directly. And that's something that in the exam you'd probably want to do this more quickly. But I'm wanting to show you why this works and how this works. So we're going to try and solve this equation that we've got here, okay? So we have that z squared equals I. Well, I think what we're going to do here is we know that z is going to be of the form a plus bi. And we're going to sub that in and see what we can do. So if we sub this in, we would have a plus bi squared equals I. Now, I can't square root both sides because if I do the square root of I don't know what that means, okay? So I can't, what if there's a new type of number that we need? How do I calculate the square root of I, imagining that I can't use my calculator here? So instead of doing that, I'm going to expand the left-hand side and see what happens. Well, I would have a squared plus abi plus another abi, so that's 2abi. And then I would have b squared I squared, which is minus b squared, and that is equal to I. So we're going to do that same thing. We're going to collect together the real and the imaginary parts. The real parts are a squared minus b squared, and the imaginary parts are 2abi equals I. Then what we do is we will compare the real parts. Now, when we compare the real parts, on the left-hand side, the real parts are a squared minus b squared. Is there anything real on this right-hand side? And the answer is no. We are then going to compare the imaginary parts. When we look at the imaginary parts on the left-hand side, the imaginary part we have is 2ab, and on the right-hand side, there's just one there. There's just one I that we've got. So we can solve these equations simultaneously. Let's rearrange something from this one that we've got here. I'm going to find out what a is equal to. A is going to be equal to 1 over 2b. Okay, 1 over 2b. So if I sub that into this equation, I would have 1 over 2b squared. That's going to be 1 over 4b squared minus b squared equals 0. So I then get that 1 over 4b squared equals b squared. I'm going to multiply it by 4b squared, so I get 4b to the power of 4. And so I get a quarter equals b to the power of 4. And so b is going to be that square rooted. So not square rooted, fourth rooted. So the fourth root of 1 over 4, which you should be able to work out. But the fourth root of this is 1 over root 2. So b is equal to the plus or minus 1 over root 2. And so a is 1 over 2b. So a is 1 over 2b. Let's store that as the answer. 1 over 2 answer. A is also 1 over root 2. A is also equal to plus or minus 1 over root 2. Meaning that the answers, I'm going to have to come over to this other final part over here, is that z is either equal to 1 over root 2 plus 1 over root 2i, or z is equal to minus 1 over root 2 minus 1 over root 2i. Now, if you put this in the calculator, you may get slightly different ones. So let's just quickly clear this. Let's just show you how it works. if I just do the square roots of I can never remember where I is on this calculator. There it is. The square root of I. Why is it not going to give it to me in a different form? That's probably because I'm in a different mode. I'm going to show it to you on my other calculator that I've got here. So let's just fix it on here. I tried it earlier. You can see that the square root of I is root 2 over 2 plus root 2 over 2I. Now root 2 over 2 is the same as 1 over root 2. 1 over root 2 is the same as root 2 over 2. Okay, so you can use the calculator to do this, but I wanted to show you this other method. So this one that we've got here, I'm going to do the slightly longer method. This time we're going to say, so z squared brackets 1 plus I equals 7 minus 17I. Let's start rearranging it. So we get 7 minus 17I over 1 plus I. Now, if I was doing this in an exam, I would actually just realize this denominator the quick way, which is using the calculator. So that's 7 minus 17I over 1 plus I. And the calculator should give me it's minus 5 and minus 12I. My calculator on the screen looks a bit different to the one that I would have over there. So we're going to do this the long way, but you could do this the quick way, which is just to then, on your calculator, you can do this. Should give it to you in complex form. Remember, it's going to be plus and minus. I'll try that at the end, but I'm going to do the long method to get some really good practice in. So let's let z equal a plus bi. So z squared from this one here is going to be a plus bi squared equals minus 5 minus 12i. So you get your a squared, you're then going to get your plus 2abi and your minus b squared equals minus 5 minus 12i. So the real parts that we've got here, the real parts are a squared minus b squared equals minus 5, and the imaginary parts are that 2ab equals minus 12. Okay, let's figure out then what a is equal to. So a is going to be equal to minus 12 over 2b, which is minus 6 over b. And I'm going to sub it in to this equation. So that's minus 6 over b squared minus b squared equals minus 5. 36 over b squared minus b squared equals minus 5. And so you then get 36, multiply everything by b squared. And so you get b to the power of 4 minus 5b squared minus 36. And this here is a type of quadratic. It's a bit difficult to spot, but this is a type of quadratic. So if you want to do this the long way, you might say let y equal b squared, meaning that you would then have 0 equals y squared minus 5y minus 36. Now when you solve this quadratic, I would recommend using a quadratic solver for this. 1 minus 5 and minus 36. You get y is either equal to 9 or y is equal to minus 4. So if y is equal to minus 9, that means b squared equals 9. So b is plus or minus 3. Or b squared equals minus 4. So b is equal to plus or minus 2i. So if b is equal to plus 3, a would be equal to minus 6 over 3, so it would be minus 2. If it was minus 3, it would be plus 2, so you can write minus plus 2. We're not going to look at the one with the 2i here, because b needs to be a real number. So the solutions to this are that z equals minus 2 plus 3i, or z equals 2 minus 3i. I'm just going to quickly show you that on the calculator, that we could have just done the square root of minus 5 minus 12i. Just going to get that up here. minus 5 minus 12i, and you get the 2 minus 3i, and then the plus and minus of that would mean that you flip the 2 to the minus 2 and the minus 3 to the 3. Okay, I wouldn't recommend necessarily doing all of these ones that I've got on this next part here. Some of them you might like to just do the quick way by using the calculator, but I thought it was worth seeing the method of comparing the real parts and the imaginary parts. There are other ways of solving this simultaneous equation as well. You didn't quite have to do it in this way. You could have rearranged this one and subbed in. I just did a slightly more complicated version potentially. So for these ones I've got here, I've just got 3 questions for you to find out what W is equal to, and I've got the solutions down here so that you can check if you've got them right. Maybe do a couple of them using the long method, and then a couple of, maybe the remaining one just using the calculator. One last thing that also doesn't really get covered in the textbooks but could come up is you could come up with some kind of simultaneous equations that do also include complex numbers as well. So you just pretty much use the same pattern that you would do for normal ones, okay? I would recommend for this one, thinking about what kind of technique you could do. For the second one, I would rearrange it and sub it in to the first one. So if I rearrange that second one, z is equal to 3w plus 10. I'm just going to sub it into the top one and see what happens. So we get w squared plus z squared, that's 3w plus 10 squared equals 0. So it's w squared plus 9w squared. You get 3w times 10 twice, so that's 30 times 2, that's 60w, plus 100 equals 0. So 10w squared plus 60w plus 100 equals 0. You can simplify that, or you can just go straight to your equation solver on your calculator. I'm feeling pretty lazy today, so I'm going to do that. And it should give you, if you've got it in complex mode, that w is equal to minus 3 plus I, or w is equal to minus 3 minus I. Well, if w equals minus 3 plus I, then using this fact that we have here, we can find out what z is. Z is going to be 3 lots of w, so minus 9 plus 3i plus 10, which is just 1 plus 3i. So one of the solutions is that z equals 1 plus 3i and w equals minus 3 plus I. So that's one of the solutions. If w equals minus 3 minus I, z is going to be 3 lots of this, which is minus 9 minus 3i, and you've still got the plus 10, so it becomes 1 minus 3i. So the other pair is 1 minus 3i and minus 3 minus I. Nothing really that different from normal simultaneous equations, just wanted to make you aware that you could come across these as just part and parcel of some of the other questions. I haven't found any of them like this in the textbook, but hopefully these examples here will give you a lot to practice.